听了那么多英文，回头听听中文可能稍微轻松一点。那么我今天呢，给大家说的这么一个主题呢，事实上是和前面两位，他们主要是从森林认证、从那个森林保护这个角度来谈和木文化之间的一点关系。那么我呢，就是像刚才那个主席所说的，我是从工业的角度，从业界的角度，跟大家谈一谈，就是美国林产工业，我们在中国如何在为那个中国的木文化产业推动方面做了自己的一些工作。那么我的标题呢，这个标题名字叫旧瓶新酒。中国人的一句话，旧瓶新酒。那么到底你这个旧瓶新酒到底是旧在什么地方，新在什么地方？到底综合的意义是什么呢？我给大家做一个解释。那么在这之前呢，先花2张幻灯，跟大家介绍一下美国林业及纸业协会。那么美国林业及纸业协会以及那个美国林产工业的这么一个简单的情况。美国林业及纸业协会呢是代表全美林产那个工业的这么一个行业协会。那么我们下属呢有200多家会员及会员公司。那么这些会员公司呢，从事着纸浆、
engaged in pulp, paper, paperboard, cardboard, and wood products. 6% of manufacturing industry in the States, and it has 1 million people working for this industry, and it is one of the top 10 industries in 42 states. We have 2 China offices, one in Beijing, the other in Shanghai. Our association does not stand alone. We work with other associations to promote all kinds of forest products in China, such as the AHEC, which is a committee for United States broadleaf tree products. This is the biggest of its kind. And the OSB products and other products are of premium quality. And also we have other associations like the APA, SEC, and SPC, which focuses on different product promotion from different types of wood. For example, the polywood or the softwood. Then let's look at the application of these products in China. At the start, we did a lot of research on Chinese consumers' acceptance of wood culture, their understanding of wood culture, because different understanding of wood culture may have different implication on whether the willingness to pay of the consumers. Today's conference has the theme of wood culture, which has a very wide connotation. And if we go into details, we understand that a nation's culture must have something that is unique to itself. And this uniqueness also applies to an industry. And when the unique industry meets a unique country, there might be different outcome. For example, when the materials are applied, there might be some effects on people, society, and the environment. In all the projects that I've described just now, China has already had such history of developing this kind of products. For example, China has a very ancient history and old history of wood culture development. And if we retrieve into history, we may find so many sayings, recordings about the ancient use or sometimes primeval use of wood. For example, if you go to the southern part of China, you may still find some ancient buildings that were made up of wood. And if we walk along with the development of wood culture in China, we may find the following things. First, China does not have enough resources. China does not have enough forest resources to meet its demand. And secondly, another disadvantage is that people do not have adequate understanding about the possible application of wood. Education on forest sustainable development and wood culture application is not enough. For example, I am a civil engineer and I majored in structural engineering, but I remember back in my school time, I didn't get such education on wood culture. Another disadvantage is that processing industry is finding unbalanced development. For example, polywood in China has been greatly imported from other countries. And just over one night, China suddenly became the world's largest exporter of polywood.
So we need to see whether we have a balanced development of China's wood processing industry. Today we are talking about the culture of wood culture. So we believe that China's wood structure is lagging behind of all other countries. So in terms of material field, in terms of application field, so we are lagging behind. Why we do this analysis is important for industry. For example, if we want to expand our business into some market, so we need to analyze if this market has wood culture. So we want to know why this market has a very advanced wood culture in China. China has a very huge, very long history about wood culture. If we want to expand the business into China market, so what is our strategy? The strategy will be very simple. We will use the old one bottle, but we will get into the new wine. Of course, we need to have get a bottle as old as possible, but we need to add some new content in the bottle. So that is our general idea, that we use the old bottle to hold the new wines. In terms of material application, education, and sustainable development, the two former speakers have talked. So we need to focus on all these areas. So in future, what we need to do, I think all this work we have done has promoted China's wood culture. For this introduction of the new concept, in the traditional buildings, they have their own forms and format in terms of construction. Whether we can make some new alteration in terms of material and application, like the industrialization of the wood structure. For example, in the past we emphasize on the level of the carpenter, but whether this practice is suitable, is fitful for the current development of the industry. Another is the anti-fire and the corrosion and insects. So we need to think of this one. That's the first one, the introduction of new concept. The second is the formation of the standards. So if we want to move forward the industry, we need to have a very strict standard. We need to have a set of system and standards. So in terms of the designing, in building and testing the approval, what kind of standard we need to have, and we also did a lot of other research about the wood structure. The professor from Yale has talked about the green building. Now we are also in China starting to integrate green building into the industry, and we also have done a lot in sustainable development, market promotion, and spread. So I think we need to learn from each other and exchange ideas in China in this regards. Oh, this is some examples in China. Now we have built a lot of ancient buildings. We have our technique is no problem, but what we need to concern is the materials. In 1998, we have started the banning the logging of the primary forests. So we cannot get some very big trees, big materials. But if we want to build some old industry, we do need some big forests. of course, we still have some technologies that we can reflect or we can represent some the old buildings. This is totally wood-based institutes, wood-based construction. So a lot of you are students of wood majors. I want to give you some ideas of what we have. Okay, this is some mimic old ancient buildings. There's a very American film. So we also have in China a lot of this kind of bridge in certain part of China. So all these technologies to build the bridges are done by some very smart builders. They have tried some new technologies and to use some new materials to build some buildings that is only exist in the ancient China. So now we have also used a lot of new ideas and concept in North America. 90% of buildings, 90% of the buildings are wood-based. So from the perspective for environmental protection and saving, wood buildings are very unique that cannot be replaced by other buildings. So in a very ancient time, wood structure have been introduced to China, and which has become a favorite in the current architectures and even developers. If we want to build a home, we can have our own nature, or we can integrate our home with the big nature. So that's also aspect of the culture, how we can combine the culture and the development of a industry. If we go to any other place of China, we can see that in different areas, the wood has been extensively used in each areas of the industry. This is the building in Shanghai, built in 1999, the 50th anniversary of New China's building up. All these communities building are made of wood, which has awarded the golden medal in the building competition. This is a wood structure buildings which is cannot be even imagined in the few years ago. Now people came to recognize that people have adopted different approach. Some use just wood, some used concrete to build the roof, and to use the wood to build other areas. This is a project in Beijing. Oh, this is the building built on the slopes, which was built originally in Weihai of Shandong. In 1970s and 80s, we have built a lot of buildings with 5 or 6 floors, and in a lot of places like Nanjing. Why we need to update is because first the roof is not beautiful. Second, there is some room leaking. So we have redeveloped and we have updated the roof to delete the slope roof and change it back into the flat roof. And we also, another thing is that we can build some antiques on this slope roof. For example, in another is what we said. I said about combined. For example, use concrete to build a roof and wood to build other parts of the buildings. Now, the development of the wood structure has promoted the development of the processing industry in Nanjing. We have built a lot of trust. For example, the roof, the way the carrying parts. If we want to build these parts, we can meet the needs of domestic China as also in the need of even Japan. For example, this is a building in Japan. All the buildings made in China and sold in Japan. So this culture has promoted the development of the entire industry. For some, a technology can promote industry to meet both domestic and foreign markets and promote the technology. So how we can combine the culture and the industry to promote development of the both. For example, this building, people even cannot imagine such a building. This is a laboratory in U.S. The laboratory structure like this is not very rare in China. This is a club in China. We have a lot of approaches which is not used in North America. This is this is a entertainment center. This is the swimming pool for state swimming team. This is updated from the old building. It was finished in the year 2007. And this is just effect the diagram. This is a golf tee pub. This is a swimming pool. Swimming building we have planned in Qingdao, about 10,000 square meters. This is an office building. This is a dining hall in Suzhou, besides Taihu Lake. Actually, a lot of you do not know the existence of these buildings, this project. For example, the bridges. This is a 35-span wood-made bridge in Shanghai. You know where is this? You know there's a Xinpu and a Jiangnan ancient town. I think this we made this bridge to fit the style of the town. This is the first wood bridge in China that can hold a 28-ton vehicle riding along. This is a toll gate in Yulong. The property owner said this is the state protection park. We need the material for natural resources. That's very simple. So we build a wood toll. So this kind of practice cannot be used in U.S. This is a maze. It combined with the sewage treatment. After the treatment, all the sewage have been used for irrigation. And the wood is built into. We built a maze out of the wood. A lot of landscaping. There's no. This is a wood pavement of the Qingdao Sea. Along the Taihu Lake, all the buildings, all the pavements are made of wood. This is in Suzhou Industrial Park. I don't know if it's a new park or industrial park. All these are made of wood. You see, just now I talked a lot of applications in China, utilizing in China. The second, what we did is the standardization. Our society has participated in the writing of a lot of standards of all these documentations. We have used a lot of new forms and have added a lot of new definitions in it. These are some standards we are working on. For example, the standard of the polywood structure and the Shanghai city light wood structure standards, the technology standards. You know, all these standardizations development has promoted a lot of universities and R&D institutes to do the job in this regard. For example, Tongji University, Beijing Forest University. They also have done some experiments. The Beijing Forest University, Harbin Industrial University, which has done some research about the quality acceptance work, and we hope that We can also do a lot of other research in terms of wood structure. Beijing Forest, there's Mr. Zhao from Beijing Forest University. Let me talk about what the new concept we have brought. I think an important concept I need to emphasize the third-party certification. Of all the wood coming from North America, there's a third-party certification on it. As we get contact with the academic and the industry fields, I think people have recognized the idea of the third-party certification. When we are working with a lot of institutes and universities, we have done a lot of job in the third-party quality certification. As to the sustainable development, we have also a lot of interactions and communications with the academics. So in terms of market promotion, our society has used a lot of ways, for example, holding forums and participating in the fairs. All of these forums are academic. The participants are the architects and the builders and the designers. We have also participate in a lot of fairs. We also have a lot of demonstration projects. And so our softwood society has done a lot of demonstration projects. Which has been well received in China. These are softwood. They used to build the project in Shanghai. This is also Shanghai. I think that is one of the most famous and expensive in a decoration using softwood.
This is the caging using oak. Besides, we also use diversified means to provide learning materials to Chinese designers. For example, we have a Chinese website showing very detailed and brief introduction about different kind of wood materials. If you have an interest, you can contact me to have the access to the internet and to that website. Also, we have invited many Chinese famous engineers to go for an American visit to establish their relationship so that there might be more easier cultural exchanges. In conclusion, the forestry industry in the States and our association are really using this old yet new effort to promote such cultural exchanges. It is an old framework, but we find new points to put into this framework to engine new growth. I have 2 offices in Shanghai and Beijing. If you have an interest, please contact me after the conference. Thank you.
今天你的报告让我看到了就是中国的这个墨机构吧，在中国的一些更大的希望。因为最近这10年呢，我也来回在加拿大、中国这边跑。最初从一开始的话，我觉得非常消极，最后的话，慢慢的还看到有些利用。虽然讲，这墨机构在中国在最近几年的应用得到了很大的发展，但是相对于整个的这个国民经济发展，尤其是住宅建设占的比例还是非常非常的小。在您看来，就是讲，如果继续往下推进的话，就是还有哪些方面的？那么这方面包括技术的、政策的各方面的，就是哪些方面还有进一步的工作需要做的？来进一步推进这个墨机构在中国的发展。谢谢。
OK 那么那个张先生，事实上他问的这个问题，事实上也是我们一直在考虑的。
Actually, your question has also been our concern, and it's just like the habit of reading the Bible. Every day when I wake up, I think of this question. Next day and next year, what should you do? Now, jokes aside, I think a very simple theory is that it is an industry that we want to promote. We are not only promoting a single product, we are promoting the whole industry, and we should think what are the components of this industry, what are the basic standards. and norms. And the establishment of these basics to the introduction of a new concept, to the introduction of a new technology, to the final market implementation are all included in our everyday thinking. It's not like today I sell you a piece of material, you think it's good and you buy it. It's not as simple as that. If you want to promote the whole industry, you must have a bird's eye view.
刘老师。
你好，东北林业大学刘一星啊，是许先生的，这个讲演这个非常精彩啊，我们看到啊也是这个很振奋，我就想这个非常关心的问一下，就说你们这个现在呢有好多这个室外景观，就说已经是在这个中国这个已经做了哈，在南方做了一些，就是说我想问一下，就是说你们那个采取的那个防腐。防腐呢，就是用一个是用的什么用的什么药品，另外呢，就是说你们这个目标呢，就是说它能用多长时间啊？因为什么那个杂酚油类早就不让用了，现在呢，就是美国、加拿大好像还有一些发达国家呢，吸血也不让用了。就说你们现在就是这个现在具体是怎么做的
？Purpose of anti-corrosion. What are your techniques? I think it is really a question from the expert. From 2004, United States prohibit the use of CCA in residential areas. EU adopted this policy even before 1 year that the United States adopted policy, and New Zealand and Japan in recent years, similar policies were adopted, but there are not similar policies in China. So, U.S. promotion of these anti-corrosion materials in China are also up to that standard. That does not include SE. So this is the bottom line. And secondly, about the designing standards. Both in China and in the States, the minimum is 50 years. And depending on different projects, there might be different requirements for.
那接着刚才刘老师的这个问题哈，因为刚才我注意到您的放的这个图片里边，就在中国做的这些防腐的应用方面，好像比如说做那个桥梁的时候，就这个跟水的接触的这个部位，其实还都是用的混凝土，就是说没有用这个防腐的材料。我想这原因的话，是不是就是因为您用的就是因为都是用的 ACQ 其实是不适用于在这跟水接触的这种场合的，因为没有用到，因为我在国外我觉得看到的话，基本上整体上全是用的这个木结构，那这个整体的这种和谐更好一些。
I noticed even at the subsurface of water, they still use wood. Yes, but it's not absolute, because a good product, a good work is the good combination of different materials. And in some cases, we use oily anti-corrosion, a Polycure 2000, which is an environmentally friendly anti-corrosion agent. And why we use the concrete, and why you notice that it was only required by the proprietary, because the proprietary knows the ground property very well, and this is his unique.
你好，我是北京林业大学的，我想问你一个问题，就是说这个木质建筑结构的这个应用啊，需要消耗大量的木材，所以我非常感兴趣，就是说如果在中国推广这个木质建筑结构的话，那么你认为就是中国现有的一些速生树种，哪些能够用来生产这个集成材和这个结构材，用于这个用于这个木质结构的建筑
？Kind of trees and recommendation. Thank you for your question. And does it mean that if we want to apply these technologies in China, what are rapidly growing trees that are potential candidates? I think many. It is also the same in the States, like OSB, are all using these faster growing trees. But the prerequisite is that you must do a lot of homework to learn more detailed about the property. I'm not a major in this, and it is not in my position to tell you what kind of trees or what kind of species are mature for such utilization. And I know there are current.
许愿你好，我是来自内蒙古农业大学的王喜明。您这个及其你的公司呢，为推动中国木结构建筑呢，做出了很大的贡献。现在我们这个高校系统呢，也在为了配合你们这项工作呢，正在搞这个教学体制的改革。我们现在好多院校呢，联合起来要在这个木结构建筑这方面呢做人才培养。我现在今天想请教您一个问题呢，就是说，在木结构建筑人才培养过程当中，这个学生的知识结构呢是由哪些层次构成的？谢谢。
This regard, and what are your recommendations for our course design? I thank you for your question. In Beijing University, in Tsinghua University, we are also doing such kind of advice. But I think the bottom line is that they must have a high school graduation certificate and enters university, and there must be those basic studies. It's not something, we know that it is a unique major, but it must be based on a solid foundation of understanding of multidiscipline.
听您刚才介绍，我觉得木结构，你们做了大量的工作，是非常好的工作。因为中国人自古以来非常重视木结构，但是我有一个问题还没有解决，想请教一下。中国有13亿人口，农业上可耕的土地有限，而且现在国家对土地使用有严格的政策界限。美国的人口和土地，加拿大的人口和土地，以及他们的木材产量和我们是截然不一样的。我们在2006年木材缺口就是1.4到1.6亿立方米，据说今后如果到2010年，我们可能木材缺口还要大得多得多。我就不清楚这些木材从哪里来。中国人如果都住2楼3楼的话，中国人往哪儿住？这个问题我没解决。当然，我听你刚才介绍了很多标准的样板，都是高尔夫球的球场上应用的，是吧？避暑区，当然避暑区现在是严格控制土地。不让再建这些东西了。我始终有一个问题，因为我非常感兴趣这个问题，所以我不知道你们是怎么看待这个问题的。谢谢。
It may not be a high key or high profile question. I totally understand. Well, actually, more than 50 experts have addressed me the same question, especially in recent years when China accesses stricter control on the uses of land. So I can totally identify with you. And from the perspective of wood structure that I have been talking today, my starting point, my focus is that providing Chinese with more options to choose from. And I'm trying to be more objective. And from a scientific and objective view, we should not exclude the thinking or the inclusion of such pattern. At least it provides us with a new economic growth point. It has high value, added value, which in turn will help to keep and maintain a whole area of the forest. So it's not that I'm advertising something or enforcing consumers to live in a wood structure. It's only providing another option. It is really difficult to imagine that China would one day become a second largest consumer of.
学生你好，我是来自中国林科院木工所彭立民。就是您介绍的是从美国的木结构，但是据我所知，在日本也有很多木结构房。我想请问一下，就是美国的木结构和日本的木结构有什么区别？
And as far as I know, there are also a lot of wood structures in Japan. So what are the differences? I think there are more Japanese experts here, so I'm not really in a position to say something about it. Actually, if you want to talk about the comparative study between the two, I can spend a whole day. Many differences. And if we look at European countries, there are also some differences. And also, I know Professor Wang from Taiwan University is also an expert in this aspect. So please allow me to limit my